You're going to need to drink that coffee. It's 4:30 in the morning, your time. I can't thank you enough for joining us. You and I had a great text conversation and then a chat yesterday about everything that's happened, and we had to jump on. We had to jump on because we just watched a pretty epic JBay, not as overhyped epic as some would lead you to believe, but also there's a little bit of a rule change. And we're going to cut this in two videos, T-Bone, for YouTube. One is going to be the JBay recap, which we're doing now. The second will be a review and our take on the new finals rules just introduced right before the finals with one event left. But we'll get to that. We're going to cover, T-Bone, the JBay recap, and we're going to talk about Connor and Gabriella. Bryan, we're going to talk about the waves, the announcers. Oh, boy, we got a lot to cover. But let me start with this, T-Bone. Oh, good morning, by the way.
Good morning, mate. Hey, I hope apologies in advance for my audio. I forgot my mic, a bit of a rookie mistake, So I hope everyone can hear me okay.
It sounds pretty good, and you've got to remember your mic, T-Bone. You're on the best surf talk radio show out there.
I know, mate. What a rookie, hey?
No, it's all good. We're cruising, and we are gonna rap about JBay. T-Bone, I couldn't be happier about the finals winner, especially the men's final winner, first time CT event winner, Connor O'Leary. Initial thoughts.
Connor Lupo 2.0. Mate, I had a funny feeling a goof was going to take it out because they just get to go upside down. I'm stoked for Connor. First CT win. How many F-bombs did he drop at the end? He was so stoked, and I was, stoked for him. Good on him. Same with Yago too. Yago, goofy final. I'm happy with that. Really happy with that, to be honest, and stoked for Connor.
Yeah, goofy final. And the last goofy final was obviously the last time a goofy won. Do the math there. But ITALO and Gabriella MEDINA. And, dude, if you haven't seen that, if you have not seen that heat, that's epic JBay. Check that out. I'll put a link in the description. But I think that I wanted to just check back on how Connor got there. Dude, he went through a murderer's row. He basically went through the Brazilian storm to get there. He had ITALO in the round of 16. Then he beat Ethan in the quarterfinals. And then Felipe in the semis. Great heats all the way through. And that Felipe heat was where he got that 10, dude. And I hadn't seen it. And you and I talked, and I was like, dude, I'm halfway through. I'm grinding my way through the replay because I did not stay up all night. But, I watched that 10 a second time, and it had more impact on me. What did you think about that 10? And would you have been the guy that gave him the 9.7?
Yeah, I would have slapped that judge. Hey, mate, Connor's got some serious quads, and to surf, I don't know how many meters that wave was, a couple of 100 meters. But that tube was pretty technical. That wasn't your classic big open super tube. He just tucked into that tube and came out and just went to town on it. And man, I just love watching goofies at JBay. Phil Toledo, I thought Phil was starting to really warm up, and because I had him as my power surfer, and Phil was surfing really well as well. But I think Connor just outpowered him and just went to town, and I think it deserved the 10 for sure.
I do too. Yeah, and the other thing I was thinking about was he's in the Dog Marsh camp, and I'm going to get back to Dog Marsh, actually. I want to move on to Gabriella Bryan. And by the way, there's one of his turns. I think that might have been the turn from the 10. Add that barrel to that turn. But he was doing a lot of these vertical turns. And Kaipo, I loved Kaipo was calling it the stinger. And dude, such a good name for that backhand hack. If you were to pick between Cole's backhand and Connor's backhand,
Wow.
I had somebody ask me that before this event started. They said, "Hey, what about Cole? Cole versus Connor?" It was my friend Rhett, and I said, "Dude, I think I take Connor. He's got more experience. I like that backhand. I'm going to call it stinger." And yeah, dude, you and I called it. We had a good run in fantasy. We both had a good run. We didn't pick it perfectly, but Connor was on both our fantasy teams. But back to the question, Cole versus Connor. Obviously at JBay, for now, it's Connor.
Mate, I think, both insane. Both have got the biggest rooster tail sprays on tour on the backhand. But Connor, I think it's just got that faster twitching muscle fiber when he goes 12 o'clock. I think he just snaps it just a little bit more dynamic. I mean, we're talking a bee's dick here. Yeah, both insane. A friend of mine actually said, "Is Connor surfing better than how Occy was back in 1984?" And yeah, Connor's
Yeah, it's progress.
it's progress, and it made me think about some of my favorite goofies at JBay. And I guess that's a question for people out there in the comments. Who's your favorite goofy at JBay? I mean, I used to love watching Matty Wilco. I think he used to get so upside down and have this incredible speed and momentum just to go bang, bang, bang. And then you've got Connor, who's a bit bigger and a bit more powerful. Gabe Medina was insane. I mean, who's your favorite goofy at JBay, mate, over the years?
Yeah, I think you just talked about all of them, and I mentioned Matty Wilco. Go look at a highlight reel of Matty Wilco at JBay, and you'll be impressed. But I think it's now Connor, and I think what you said. I mean, the difference between him and Cole are just a style difference. They both throw big fans. I think they both. One of the things that I think to pinpoint on both of them is their timing when they hit the lip. Their precision is equally great. They just have a different way of hitting it. And I think that's what makes them so good. And I think that's what makes backside surfing at some of these rights almost an advantage sometimes, that you can hit it like that.
I noticed Connor riding a squash tail. Sorry, mate. I noticed Connor was riding a squash tail, and most other pros were riding the rounded pin. I remember at Margaret River, I asked him because he was riding a squash tail a lot on Margie's rights, and then when it got a bit bigger, he went to the pin. I mean, maybe the squash tail, because the wave's a bit more perfect and a bit more, just a nice line. I don't think there's many ride the squash, and maybe it's just gets him go vertical and he's able to pivot. I remember he said at Margaret River he's really able to really pivot a lot easier on the squash, and hence that turn there. He's just blowing the absolute back out of it, mate. That's probably what you did the other day at Trestles.
I surfed Huntington, and it didn't look like that. I will say that's a great observation, by the way, T-Bone. Excellent observation. I rode a pintail out there the whole time, and one of the things and I'm talking about JBay a long time ago, back in the day, and I think you'll notice it's a lot of people talked about it, and you and I talked about it. It's a wave that's challenging, and especially with the ribs through it or the wind on it, I just felt like I liked having the pintail and the ability to hold on turns. And those waves, like when they were in the bottom turn, it was like double overhead. So there you go. Good observation, though. And I think that key word that you said was pivot is great for that situation. Moving on to this gal who won on the other side, a little bit to break down here. Congratulations to Gabriella Bryan. Dude, her third win of the year. And again, I think a lot of it goes back to Dog Marsh, who we'll talk about in a second. El Salvador, Margaret River, and now JBay, all rights. And there was a little bit of a question. And even though I picked her on my team, you had the right question, was like, can she handle a long point break? And, well, she won, so there's that. But I think she has a different approach. That hack that she does, it can't be overlooked, but also I think you and I talked yesterday on the phone about a style difference between her and Molly, because I feel like Gabriella has a little bit of business before she gets into it. But once she does that turn, like, you slow-mo that thing, and it's absolutely stunning. Your thoughts, T-Bone?
Oh, yeah, hands down, she's the most powerful female surfer on tour. She's just got this crazy big meat hack stab. Um, Different styles, and I mean, there's a couple of ways I thought she threw too much into it, and she sort of
Mm,
got behind the section.
yeah,
Whereas then when you compare to Molly, um, she's got a bit more flow and finesse, and I thought Molly was surfing insane. And I said to the other day, I love that double um, hack layback a la Mick Fanning like carve she was doing. I've never seen her do that before, but she was nailing it.
yeah.
But yeah, Gabrielle, it's just so two contrasting styles, and both I love. Yeah, deserving winner. And I mean, the two best female surfers were in that final. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's a shame is that we can never get it back. And you mentioned this yesterday when we were talking, was that Molly didn't take that last wave. And that's a big deal. She had two waves come to her in the last minute. I wouldn't even say last minute. I think it was the last,
10
40
seconds.
seconds. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then she had one with like 10 seconds left. She could have easily caught it. And maybe she thought she had more time, or she didn't do the calculations, or thought there was a way behind it and there wasn't. And I think she was just, dude, she was gutted. She was mad at herself that she didn't take that chance. Now, I don't know how good that wave was. I didn't see any highlights of it reeling off without her, but I would have loved the opportunity for her to be able to turn the heat, because T-Bone, there were so many heats that were overturned in the final seconds. So many
Yeah.
heats.
Yeah.
Gabriella Bryan turned it on Caroline Marks. In just the women's side, Molly turned it on Isabella Nichols, and Isabella Nichols turned it on Betty Lou, like last
Yeah.
second heroics. And it wasn't the judges, I don't know, they love them a flip of the heat and to score
Mm,
that,
mm.
which, yeah, that's a whole nother controversy we can talk about in another show. But the truth is, there was some great heats, and we'll dive into some of those. This guy right here, Richard Dog Marsh, dude has the two winners from this event, and this is them at Pipe at the beginning of the season.
Mm,
So Leonardo, who surfed great,
mm.
I was hoping he'd do a little better than he did, but he got into the quarters,
Yep.
and you and I both picked him. And it also shows the value of tier B selections on your fantasy team. I think that's super important when we talk about fantasy. But Doug Marsh, dude, two people in the event, the winners. Dude makes money off the percentage of their earnings. So he scored this time out. We've talked about this before. How much do they win, T-Bone, for first place? What does a champion take home? Do you know what the prize purse is?
It's 100,000. Well, after the cut, it goes from 80 to 100K. That's USD, yeah?
That's USD, baby. And that would be a pretty good chunk of change. And think about Gabriella Bryan's collected 300 grand, and probably each of them are getting incentives from their sponsors. But congratulations to Richard Dog Marsh. And the main reason I want to put him up here was because as I've gone to events and you've gone to events, one of the things you'll notice is that his group is always down at the beach at dark, surfing first thing in the morning and working hard. And Gabriella Bryan showed up 3 weeks early and scored Jeffreys Bay.
Yeah.
Like absolutely scored Jeffreys Bay. And that leads me into the waves, T-Bone. I think that you and I had this talk yesterday was about the waves in the first run through the opening rounds and in the round of 16 for the women and those waves. That swell got overhyped. And I don't know. You take it away. Tell me what your thoughts, because the last time we talked on the other show, you said, I wish the announcers would tell it like it is and not overhype the waves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like ultra picky here, but yeah, they did. I mean, it seems so long ago, to be honest, because we had all those we had that big lay day period till finals day. So, I mean, they used the whole contest window. But
and I'm glad they did.
It was a bit slow. And as I said to you yesterday, like, love watching JBay lines, but we didn't see enough. I love watching them set up nice, big, deep super tubes sections, and I don't think we've seen enough, like especially finals day. I mean, there were a couple of chips, but I mean, what was the best tube of that event? I actually can't really. I know Phil got a good one. I mean, there were a couple of good ones, but yeah, bit overhyped, mate. Yeah, a bit overhyped. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too far down. I mean, like, yeah, I'm going to sound like Mr. Complainy Pants if I start talking about the finals day was really good. I enjoyed the heck out of the heats. The waves were so long, T-Bone. I love when they do the two different cameras, because one camera finishes part of the ride into supers and the next one picks it up as the surfer keeps going. And so there were some fantastic heats. I mean, I was thoroughly entertained, but we were missing the tube. Super Tubes has tube in the name, but I think what has to do with that is this throwing around the word epic. And especially like the finals, yeah, there was some great waves, but in early on they were like, this is epic, and it wasn't. Like, in comparison even to what we had in the finals, those first few rounds were weak sauce, dude. There was, the sets were so inconsistent. You had people, and this is one thing that drives me crazy, you had people going out for lack of waves or having one or two opportunities, and that's it. And I want to see, I don't know, and they can't help the surf, you know? I think the thing that rubs you and I the wrong way, and it really resonated with the people in the comments, was the fact that they overhype it. And you have the surfers doing it. You were talking about how they're starting to do it. And I think that, like, I think it's because mom's watching.
Who's mom, mate?
I don't know. It's not ELO. Wait, hey, dude, we still don't know what happened to ELO. Is there like a Jeffrey Epstein like ELO list or something?
Isn't he I think he got a full-time job as the Brazil mascot at Saquarema.
I think that's where he is. He never left Brazil. He's still there, folks.
Hey mate, I was thinking every time they go to an event, they say it's the best event on tour. They said it about Margaret River. They said about Burley. They said about JBay. Everywhere's the best event on tour, and it's pumping and it's epic. And did they say that about Trestles, mate? I'm not having a go at Trestles.
They said it. I don't know. Did they say it was the best Trestles? And that's the thing. It becomes so artificial, when you start doing that, and we all feel it, and they probably feel it, and it just rubs me the wrong way, dude. Like, call it what it is and be honest about it, and you'll get a lot more respect from the viewers. And once you start doing that, a day that is epic will truly be special and we can enjoy that. Every event can't be epic. That's just how it is.
Hey, listen. Let's be honest. We've all got a mate who says the surf's always pumping.
Yeah, we do.
I've I've got a mate that paddles out in 2 foot. He rings me up and goes, "It's smoking." It,
Totally. Show a little
so
discretion, bro. Show a little discretion because you know you don't trust the guy. Next time you're like, dude, it's gonna be epic tomorrow. I surfed there last night, and then you get there, you get up early in the morning, and like, oh fuck, you know. And
yeah, I know,
that's who
I
the
know.
WSL is, and and speaking of which, we have to talk about this, T-Bone. Why have two announcers when three will do, dude? Three announcers, and I clipped this moment right here with your favorite announcer, Paul Evans, with Jesse Starling in the middle and Kaipo Guerrero. Okay, this
How's Kaipo's face?
dude,
He doesn't look impressed there.
he's
It's,
he's gone off into a Zen world where he can't control what's going on around him. He's gonna just take a moment, take a deep breath, and relax. Well, Jessie Starling talks about her Africa vacation, seeing the animals, while out the back. I don't know if you can see it,
yeah,
but that's Connor O'Leary taking off, and they don't cut to it for a while, and I could see Kaipo just after this. He's like looking at the camera, like, "Are you guys gonna cut to Connor taking this wave?" And I think this was the Connor Felipe heat. It wasn't the 10, but it was one of the waves, and you're like, dude, they did this so much where they would
oh
not cut
mate,
away. Like there was so many replays unnecessarily. Dude, I like to watch surfing. Like I will even watch, like, here's another example. A full screen of Connor O'Leary. Love Connor O'Leary, but give us the split screen. I'll even watch like little waves come in, but what I want to watch is I didn't put it in here. What I want to watch is waves peeling down the point. I don't care if it's just on a blank screen of waves peeling. That's one of the reasons I watch live surfing, to see the waves. Now, if you cut to the coaches on the beach or insert shots, that's fine. But, dude, when it's unnecessary, it drives me freaking crazy.
mate, drop the F bomb, dude. I love seeing you getting into a full on rant. I mean, mate, you make Hollywood blockbuster films. You know what you're talking about with production. You know what? You're starting to rub off on me, mate, because it was pissing me off too. Like, we missed so many waves due to these guys talking about themselves or interviews. Just have the split screen. Like,
Yeah.
they were, like, there was always a bit of a delay. They did sometimes get to the split screen, but mate, like I was going on to Surfline, just wanted to see if I could see the wave, like what was happening.
Exactly. And I think what they're doing when they go to the interview, what you're supposed to do is do an establishing shot. Okay, we're doing an interview, and then cut to a split screen. Okay, whatever. But don't stay on the interview. And they especially did it to the women. I have to say, they torched the women way more than the men, but they torched both of them. So in the Isabella Nichols and Molly Picklum heat, or Betty Lou, both of the heats, they stayed on the interviews and didn't show it, and then we had to watch a replay. They didn't even go to a split screen. And you know what? Now I'm getting fired up. The other
Yeah,
one that
come on, Brad,
pisses
come
me
on.
the
Yeah,
other one that pisses me off is they've made they're really proud, like patting themselves on the back. They've made these profiles. And it's like, and Caroline Marks now lives in San Clemente and is part of the force. And then like the other one, hold on.
what?
And Felipe has that mob boss energy. And it's Joe like announcing and showing all these clips of Felipe while we're missing surfing. Dude, put that shit on YouTube or put
Yep,
it on Instagram
yep.
or run it, I don't know, at the beginning or don't run it at all. Don't put it in the broadcast and block us from the reason that we're there. We're there to watch surfing. And feel free, camera associate. I know you're out there. You have the power to control which shot you're looking at. There's a guy in a booth that has 4 or 5 cameras in front of him or her, and she gets to choose which one they're flipping to. Go to camera A, go to camera X, go to B, go to C. And the one camera that they need to focus on, I would say, is C camera that stays on the surf. Stay with that freaking camera. And I could use a little less of the three of them talking in the booth. And speaking of which, 3 is too many, T-Bone. 3 people in the booth is too many for them fighting for minutes, and some of those taking way more of the airtime than the others, or over laboring the point. And I'm doing right now. T-Bone, save me.
No, listen, mate. Listen, it's all fact, right? I mean, you're passionate. I mean, you love, you got a lot of passion in the editing and the production. So I'm with you, mate. Like there were times there where I was watching online. We didn't actually watch the live wave because they were doing an interview or this sort of stuff. We actually watched the replay. And I'm thinking, we're watching a replay and this is a live broadcast.
Totally.
Why can't we? We're not actually watching the live wave. Three announcers, I think, can work, but I think you need a balance. And to me, you've got 3 people that, like what do you call it? Like 3 anchor people. Like you need an ex-pro surfer in the mix. I don't know if Kaipo was an ex-pro, but you watch all these sports, football, NBA. I'm missing the professional player special comments. I mean, you got Jesse Mendez, but I think the WSL need to bring in an ex-pro because I really I like to hear those insights. So Ross Williams was unreal. Like Potter with Joe Chappelle. Like, a lot of people didn't like Potts, but I used to love that combo. That was one of my favorite combos, to be honest with you. And Ronnie and Ross.
Excellent.
Bring some more pros into the booth, please. Ex-pros. Even if it's just per event, like bring in some special. But man, break it up because it's just everyone's fighting for airplay. Not Kaipo, but
yeah.
The other 2 just don't shut up.
Yeah, I mean, what a solid take. We do need pros in the booth, and the last 2 I can think of that were excellent. Barton Lynch, he got run off, and
100%.
And Martin Potter, maybe but we need that. And the other thing, just thinking
Get
about
Jacko
that,
Baker in there, man.
Dude, Jacko Baker in there would kill. Okay, we still want to see him on the CT tour. Jacko, if you're out there, we love when you're on the show. We're just your warm-up act, dude. You could kill in the booth. I love Jacko Baker. The other one that I was thinking of when you said the NFL, we have Tom Brady, Troy Aikman, these quarterbacks, but they also used to have coaches, and John Madden was one of the coaches.
I like that.
And, dude, how about stick Jake Patterson or, somebody who has the ability to do a coaching job that's kind of retired from it or just wants to jump in the booth. Dude, some of those coaches would be so good and understand what we're looking at and be able to break it down. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job. It's sometimes long-winded and it's wearing me out, dude. I just did cramming for a final and watched a bunch of surfing back to back to back. And I have to say that Kaipo, man, thank you for your patience. And I think Kaipo has risen in his analysis and breakdown. And
it saves them. It saves them.
More
it?
With less. He does such a good job. And it's, I don't know. Once on the one side of it, I want to criticize Joe for saying the same old tired stories about Matthew McGillivray jumps out of airplanes and Luke Egan won a piece of land for one of his events. Like, okay, we've heard that story 100 times. And then he'll break off something like, oh, well, Richard Dog Marsh is from Cronulla, just like Connor O'Leary. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't know that. Okay. So, like, there's a lot of sand to move to get to the gold nuggets. And there's got to be a better way to do it. And I think throwing a pro in there is probably that. Speaking of hit
Hey,
or miss, oh, go ahead.
hey,
No, please
hey,
continue this. I love it.
hey, just quickly, Snake was actually in the booth, if I'm not mistaken, and I think I can't remember who he was in there with, but he did. Someone please clarify in the comments. But Snake and someone else was in the booth. I think it was a QS event, but I think some of the commentary got him removed from the booth.
Well, that's what we want, dude. They did a pirate broadcast with Coco Ho and some others, and it was so fun to watch and listen to. And I think they just need to mix it up. Maybe they have two different versions. They have the Disney, sugar pop version, and then they have the other version. I don't need to be bitter, but I need it to be a little more quiet sometimes, and then good insights. I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. We got to move on.
We've done our rant. Let's move on.
We've done our part. Yeah, we talked about all this, split screens. Favorite heats or moments as we lead out of this. But before we get there, I want to ask you, Leopard wetsuit, hit or miss?
It's a hit, mate. Bring it on.
It's a hit. I liked it too. The leopard and the zebra and all that shit was fun.
But on the ladies only, like when I saw it on Crosby, I wasn't too sure about it. Hey.
Yeah, I get you. Favorite moments, I'm just going to throw one out there. I thought, and of course, I picked Isabella as my power surfer, and when she hit that lip against Betty Lou and like floated down in the air, fins free, and landed and kept going, that was incredible for me. I love that one. I love some of the early airs of Iago and Griff, and of course, Conor O'Leary's backhand stinger. What about you? What do you have in your memory?
Mate, I just love watching JBay. I mean, JBay did deliver to a pretty bloody high standard. I mean, I love watching JBay. It is one of my favorite events to watch. So let's just say JBay delivered. Looked like a huge crowd on the beach. Some great surfing went down. Stoked Connor's first CT win. I think he's been on tour nearly 10 years. I could be wrong, but just stoked with that, mate. Yeah, JBay, love it. Love watching it. Love to hopefully get over there next year.
You summed it up so perfectly. I want to end on that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And what we're going to do in the next video is we're going to break down the new rules for the finals that were just introduced. Check it out in the next video. You.